Hey guys, SOS here in Defiance, Ohio.
Site of the Defiance werewolf site. 1972. We've been in town all weekend doing a conference. I got to speak at the Dogman conference, first annual Dogman conference, and what a perfect opportunity to check out this historical site in terms of supernatural occurrences, because man, these were weird encounters. We are actually right at the location where people were encountering this werewolf from August 2nd through the 4th. And right behind the camera, you'll see some railroad tracks. Depot that is behind us here. And Dave, why don't you tell them about this one encounter that these people called about this furry man?
Intense, crazy stuff. Really, the first report that happened was actually on July 25th. Some rail workers and brakemen, they called them. The guy was uncoupling a brake line, and he was looking down, and he said he noticed two large hairy feet there. And when he looked up, there was a wolf man standing with a 2x4 in his hand.
Yeah.
And when he went to say something, the creature turned and ran into the brush.
Right. These encounters, the people were describing really what looked like a European werewolf, with the wolf's head and the snout, but he's wearing blue jeans.
Yeah.
And, purportedly carrying this big stick of wood, whether it's a 2x4, and threatening people. And the authorities were called. They actually did investigate this case. Like Dave said, the first sighting on July 25th, but then a whole series of sightings in the first week of August, culminating in really a pretty wide-scale search for this thing, but they could never find this creature, whatever it was. They did initially think that it was someone maybe wearing a mask and trying to threaten people, but then they got really concerned because the reports continued for these several days, and there really wasn't an explanation, because we're talking about people, bear in mind, in 1972, railroad workers, that was a valuable job back then, Dave. They were not going to risk losing their job or being ridiculed on the job for seeing a werewolf.
Yeah, and the local police department, the chief said in the newspaper that he became concerned during those 3 days of sightings, because the folks that gave the description were pretty spot on, and they were three different occasions that people had these encounters. And then two female residents had called in. One had experienced her doorknob being turned by something, and another one called in hearing scratching at the back door by something pretty big in nature. Not like a normal dog scratching or a cat or something like that. It was something that really scared the living daylights out of this woman.
And we've done some reconnaissance of the area, being here all weekend, and found that this is not, we're not off in the boonies. We're in town. There are industrial buildings on this side, behind us. At the time, one of these buildings was a very large meat packing plant, which I find that kind of curious, Dave, because the smell of the meat being processed and everything. On the other side of the tracks over here, we've got a lot of residential area, historic district, and one thing that we always encounter in these supernatural areas, moving water.
Yes.
So we got a waterway right here. We kind of followed the track of these rail lines earlier and found that really something, even today, I think, a large creature could pretty much move undetected if it chose to through a large portion of this town, because there's a lot of cover, there's a lot of brush and trees still. There are portions of these tracks that go up and are bridges, and I just think that even now something strange could move fairly undetected. And it's a little bit dark out here even now,
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why that light just turned off on us, but
on cue.
Another interesting fact of the sightings and the eyewitness accounts is they all happened on a full moon.
Right.
And they happened between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. in the morning. So, pretty interesting stuff.
And in fact, the first one, since it happened on a full moon, it was taken initially as a joke. And they thought, these guys are just clowning around. But as the encounters continued, then it became more serious.
Absolutely.
So we're at the location of some of these 1972 encounters, Dave, and this is the area right where these two separate rail lines came in. We've got rail switches right over here, and where all these tracks converge is where people were reporting this creature coming out of some brush. Now we've found this whole line of brush and trees over here beside these tracks, and even now, man, this is a pretty good hiding place, kind of a concealed spot, because someone even coming down that road over there would have a hard time spotting a figure over here.
Exactly. That's what we talk about often in these type of cases. Something can hide in plain sight.
Exactly.
And if you're not really paying attention and you're concentrating on what you're doing, like driving your car, you're not going to see someone standing 50 yards off the road like we are right here.
That's right.
There's plenty of brush cover right here to my right. And those rail workers were right here at the time, and they saw what they saw and reported what they saw. So
another historical location we did.
Yeah, we're standing right here where the sightings happened. So it's pretty interesting, And these tracks right here behind us go straight down. There's a railroad bridge, and it goes straight over the river.
That's right.
So there you go, the water source.
And once again,